we're here today to talk about the sealing of slate floors.
Yep.
And our lovely Pierre is here to help us with that today. So hello Pierre, thank you for coming.
Hello, thank you for having me again.
What is it? Why do these marks appear? Because I know that's what the biggest question
this is actually a story that happened. A friend of mine recommended a client in Essex for for slate floor cleaning, and I called the lady up, right, and she's in the heart of Essex somewhere. Though we do work in Essex, we don't go that far, so I had to make a special arrangement to go and see her. And I spoke to her about this specific thing, and this is why I brought it to you, as let's make a video about this. Apparently some plaster or some filler or something that they used on the wall fell on the slate after, of course, the floor was sealed before, and she can't remember totally exactly what the sealer was, and this fell on the slate and it left a mark. She cleans it, she kept seeing once it dries it makes a white haze. So this is the reason why I thought I'll bring this to you, and at the same time I thought, you know what, let's just remind everybody what are the different options when it comes to sealing your slate floor.
Yeah.
So that's why this came. So
I mean, one of the biggest things that I suppose people will need to know is sealant. Is it that there's a big reason for using sealant? What is the reason we use sealant?
Yeah, especially on slate floors. You know, if we totally focus on slate floors now, a slate floor that's sealed with the wrong sealer will look dull, grey, and ugly. Right, so yeah, you can't use any old sealer on it. You buy a sealer and you think, yeah, that's the sealer, I apply it. Or the slate floors need a specific sealer to get it looking nice and black and colourful. Now, of course, there are coloured slates as well, and yes, there are some slates where you would be fine with actually just going, you know what, that's fine, I would just apply a sealer to it and it would be fine. But in most cases, when it comes to slate, what you use is a colour enhancing sealer or a wax dressing. So that's what I've got there, and I can show you in a moment. In fact, I don't know if I can reach over and stay in my seat and just show you the different types of sealer. But let's go, before we go to the sealer, let's talk about this spill on the floor.
Yeah, why has it caused it?
Spill on the floor. And I've seen a similar thing before. We had a job for a client in Cambridge, right? And this client spent a lot of money on this fancy slate in the bathroom. And then there had to be this lime plaster happening in the bathroom, right? Very, very particular job, and the lime plaster then spilt onto the slate floor after the floor was installed, but the floor wasn't sealed yet. So then the people doing the plastering cleaned the floor. They started moving all this stuff down around on the floor. But the thing is, the slate has got ridges in it. The slate is, some slate is totally smooth, but most slates will have a texture. And this wall plaster, filler, whatever it is, spills on the floor and it goes into those little nooks and crannies, and it is impossible to get out. And also the other thing where this can happen is when you have a light coloured grout and you then try and clean the slate. This goes into the edges of the of the slate, because your slate has got a texture to it. And then you have this sit there, and to be honest, it's just impossible to get every last speck of this white stuff if it's a lighter coloured grout, or if it is the plaster from the wall. It is nearly impossible to get everything out. So it's very important to ensure that, you know, when you use somebody to install your slate floor, get somebody to install stone floors, slate floors. They know how to work with them. And also,
they know what not to do.
They know what not to do. And also, it's very important to realise, if you've got extreme texture to the slate, then you will inevitably have a little bit of that happen. It's nothing you can do about it. And that's just the way it is. Even if you seal the slate before you seal it, before you grout it, you will still have some of that happen.
So it's good to know that if you get your slate floor cleaned and by professionals, they might not be able to do what you actually want them to do.
And that's also that's exactly that, because we got called to that job and the client said, can you remove this? And literally, you need to remember that grout is a flexible grout. That means it has got some plastics in it that when it's wet and mixed, it's easy to maneuver and work with that, right? Easy to clean off. But the moment it goes hard, that's now set.
Yeah.
It's hard, and it sits in the nooks and crannies of that floor, and you're not going to get it out. But anyway, coming back to this job in Essex, this client called me up and she said, I've got this slate floor and there's something spilt on it, plaster or filler or something, and we tried to clean it now and I can't get it out. And then what I observed was that the likelihood of this has now gone sit in the corners, and it's very hard to get it out. And then we moved on to talk about what sealer was used before. Because when you make it better, because what usually would happen, somebody would clean this up and go, "Ooh, let me go and find that very strong cleaner," and then use the strong cleaner on the floor and make it wash out the previous sealer.
Yeah.
So then it's important to reseal it. So then it's important to understand what sealer was used before, and then how can I reapply this. And there's two different types. Can I show you?
Yeah, of course you can.
You think they want to see?
Of course they want to see.
Okay,
We
let's
all
show
want to
them then.
see.
Okay, so first of all, probably my more go-to sealer option is color enhancing sealer. Color enhancer sealer, and I love Tilemaster. They are great people, great products, and we use their products all the time. And I would advise that if you are
I'll tag
looking
them
at
below
sealing,
as well.
then maybe you can include even the Ultimate Floor Care where they can buy this product. So
Yeah.
color enhancer sealer on the Slate floor. This works really well, although when you apply it, make sure you buff it really dry. It's not a topical seal, it's a sealer that penetrates into the tile. And it enhances the color of the tile, and it brings out, especially on Slate, that nice deep dark
The
color.
dark colour that you want.
No, I say black, it's not always
It's
black.
not
As
always
you can
black,
see
it's
on the
dark.
picture there's
Yeah.
some Slate. On the front picture, here's a picture of Slate. In fact, I can probably stand closer. You can see that picture of the Slate, and you can see how it's enhanced the Slate that's been sealed. So this is what I love to do, but you need to remember to buff it dry. So when you apply it, buff it dry, and it brings the colour out. So if you have had colour enhancer seal applied, like this lady in Essex, we didn't find out in the end if she did or did not. Then you can clean the floor, just apply a little bit of colour enhancer sealer in that area again, buff it dry, and you should be good.
Okay.
It hides a lot of imperfections on the floor. Okay,
Good to know.
that's my go-to. The next option is to go for a wax dressing on a Slate floor. Right, wax dressing. So how you work that is clean the floor as you normally would. Nice and clean, no sealer, everything has been removed. And then what you do is you apply a water-based seal. Again, this is the Tilemaster range, all-in-one water-based sealer. And this penetrates into the floor as well, so it protects it from inside.
So it's inside the floor, it's not just on
this,
the top.
This step is inside the tile.
Okay.
Buff it dry, and then follow the dilution rates on the back, and then you have the choice of a wax dressing. Our more popular option is the matte wax. So this is a tone down. It hasn't got a high shine, but it's got a sheen to it, somewhat of a sheen to it. So even though it says matte, it's got a bit of a sheen to it. So then you apply this with a flat mop, a very thin coat at a time over the floor, and it builds up shine, and it also brings out some of the colour on the floor. Maybe not as totally as much as your colour enhancing sealer, but you will have
But
that
you will
colour.
have a colour.
The alternative is to use the satin wax dressing, so this gives you more of a sheen to the floor if you want a little bit more shine, but these days I find a lot of people prefer the more matte look.
Yeah.
We see that on the wood floors we sand and all those things.
Yeah.
We see that there. So it's important if you do have those marks on your floor to know what sealer you have, because with this lady in Essex, Tracy,
Well, she didn't know. I'm guessing
she didn't
that's the
know,
problem.
she didn't get back to me in the end, but the thing is, I cannot advise go and put some colour enhancer sealer on it, because if it has got a topical coating on it like
And
this,
it's not gonna
it's
work.
not compatible, and it
No.
might become sticky. So in a case where this has been applied and you have a problem with your floor, then
Don't
you need
use
to
it.
strip that floor back and
Okay.
start again. Where if you've used your colour enhancing sealer, you can just top it up.
Just top it up.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
So-
the one thing with the colour enhancing seal is it has a very matte look to it.
Oh, okay.
It's very much more matte, where this stuff gives you a bit of a sheen to the surface.
I think more people nowadays want that matte look, don't they?
Matte
So
is more
that's-
in
yeah.
the vogue at the moment,
Yeah.
definitely. Yeah.
Okay, so there you go. I will link everything down below to products that where you can get Tilemaster products from, because we do have a company that we get ours from. I mean, you can get them straight from Tilemaster, obviously, but I'll link Ultimate Floor Care.
Ultimate Floor Care down the
down.
bottom where
So,
you
yeah.
can find that, and also the cleaners. And
The
so
cleaners,
on,
yeah,
that
because
they
we
can
do all
use
of
to
them
do
now.
that. Strippers
So,
and so on.
So
Okay.
there you go. If you've got any other questions about your slate floors or any of the Tilemaster cleaning products or sealing products, just give us a shout, pop a comment below, and we will get a video done as soon as we can. Bye!
Bye now.